Are you scared to give birth? If so, you're in good company. I like to reassure people when they tell me that they're scared that that means that they're taking it seriously. It means that you realize that this birth is a big event and it's going to ask a lot of you. If you weren't scared, I would think you weren't well prepared, actually. My name's Allison Lorne, and I'm a certified nurse midwife. If you've given birth and you're looking for tips and tricks to create more ease in your postpartum period, please download my free postpartum care checklist. I'll link it in the description. I think fear plays an important role in preparing for childbirth. It helps you take it seriously, it helps you prepare, it motivates you to want to learn about what to expect. Now, fear can also become anxiety. When we're worrying too much about the unknowns and what's in the future, it can certainly make things more difficult. So, the trick is in learning how to keep the anxiety low, keep that at bay, while validating your fear and concerns. So I'd like to speak to this in this video about managing yourself, your emotional well-being while in labor. And there's two pieces that I'd like to focus on. One being the strength and fortitude required to labor, and other being the softness and surrender. So we're looking at strength and softness and the balance between the two. I'd like to focus on the strength part first because I think that's more accessible in the archetypes that we see in birth. Often we see just images of women pushing, right? And being very active and looking sweaty, kind of red in the face. When we're portraying labor in the media, it's often with a lot of activity. It doesn't really lend itself very well to storytelling in a sitcom or movie to just focus on the quiet times in between contractions and how much is happening internally. So, when we're talking about the active parts of labor, we're talking about that strength. It does ask you to really step into almost this warrior archetype, right? You have to dig deep to find the strength to deal with the pain of contractions and the challenges, the physical demands of pushing. Strength also speaks to the importance of self-care. It means that you realize that taking sips of water, hydrating yourself, and snacking if you're at home, or being able to access whatever nutrition's available in a hospital birth, it's important for you to do that self-care, right? It's important for you to get up out of bed when asked or encouraged. It's important for you to go to the bathroom even if you feel like you just want to lay in bed and not move. It's important to change positions, and that requires strength. Sometimes it's not what you want to do, and you have to have that self-talk that's like, this is important, and I know that moving, hydrating, snacking is what I need to do for my body, right? To be the most successful birth. So that strength is important. The strength of character is important. The strength to actually move the body when the body doesn't sometimes want to move is important. The physical endurance is important. And we're talking about strength of character, mental strength. This is where we can switch into that discussion around softness, because so much of birth is about surrender. It's about ego disillusion, and it's about softening and surrendering again and again and going deeper and deeper into that surrender. When the ego is holding on, it's what is causing the fear to come. The ego wants to identify with your known identity, and there's nothing like a birth to change your world and create a whole new identity, right? It's basically a complete departure from your life before and after when you're moving into motherhood. So the ego doesn't know what to do with that. And that's where that fear is coming from. Like, who am I going to be? Oftentimes at transition or right before pushing, we'll see this really intense fear take over for just a minute. Hopefully, we're able to talk a woman through that before it becomes overwhelming, because the unknown is what's so scary. The response to that is to surrender. So when you feel yourself scared and when you feel the anxiety coming up, it's asking you to let go even more. Can I let go of my preconceived notions about what this birth is going to be? Can I let go of the idea of how I thought I was going to keep it together or what it was going to look like from the outside? Really, it's asking you to completely give over to the demands of your body and let your personality almost evaporate. Let your personality sort of bubble away. What we're needing from you is a self-preservation, a self-care, and when there's resistance and fight, asking for a softening in response to that. Now, ideally, you have a partner, a doula, a care team that you trust in, that you feel like is advocating for you, and you don't feel like you need to fight in a way to try to get the birth that you want or advocate for your birth plan, or that you're up against a system that's not supportive. And I'm not talking about that kind of fight. Hopefully you have people that can fight for you if you feel like you need to advocate for yourself in that way. I'm talking about the internal fight of thinking that you have to hold it together, because the experience is asking you to fall apart, if that makes sense. It's asking you to surrender to your body, get out of the way and let your body unfold. The first part of labor, when the contractions are just opening the cervix, it is about surrendering and it's about that self-care. And then when we get into the pushing phase, it really is a lot more active. People feel like they're in more control in the pushing phase, and they feel like they can play a bigger role in that story, like play a bigger part in it themselves. And what so many people struggle with in that first phase of labor is being able to let the body be the center, the narrator, so to speak. So giving the body everything it needs to shine, everything it needs to be successful. And we're talking about that hydration, that snacking, that position changes, all in early labor and the first stage of labor. And then second stage of labor being that pushing. Ran into a friend last night, and she's 37 weeks, and she told me how scared she is about going into labor. And I just looked her in the eye, and it's like, of course you're scared. It's a good sign you're scared. The idea here is to not be overwhelmed by the fear, but acknowledge the fear, validate the fear, understand that the fear has its purpose, and even thanking the fear, being appreciative of the fear. See if now you can find that place where the fear lives and just meet it gently, compassionately, holding that part of yourself that's scared and soothing that part of yourself, and understanding that that's the part that we're wanting to surrender. That's the part that's asking you to let go. I hope this video has helped a little bit put into perspective how fear can actually help, how normal it is to be scared of labor. And it's not a bad sign. It doesn't mean anything terrible is going to happen. It's totally normal and natural, especially for your first time and even subsequent deliveries. It's just an amazing miracle that you have to trust in, that your body knows how to get a baby out. You're built for this. And especially these days when we don't see birth enough to know how normal it is and how often it happens without complication. It's really something that you should believe you're capable of, and believe in the ability of your body to complete this task. Most of the struggle, to be honest, is being able to open our minds to the experience and being able to find a way for fear to unfold into strength and softness. Thanks for watching. I'm Allison Lorne. This is Holistic Birth Recovery. I help people recover from difficult and traumatic childbirth experiences. Click the link in my bio to get to my website if you'd like to learn more about my services.